It is Sunday, November 30th, 2025, and this is Coffee with Frankie. Live to tape, no live stream today. Here's the coffee. I'm the Frankie. So instead of whatever comments you would have left in the in the live stream, just put them down in the comments, and I'll respond to them there. All right, we got a video script. We got some talking points. We got ourselves a docket. Newbie call-ups. Newbie call-ups. We had some newbie call-ups from the practice squad. Now, first of note, Jordan Clark. This is for today's game with the Falconians. Jordan Clark, defensive back. Now, why would he get called up? Well, Jason Brown-Lee is injured, probably going to be out, so we needed a new slot corner backup type. I would anticipate that Isaiah Oliver is the first one to take a crack at the nickel position. You could see Malachi Moore rotating down if we put Dean Clark up into the safety position, but generally you like to keep your safeties, your two safeties, the same the whole game. You don't like to move them around in and out of the lineup and so forth. So probably Isaiah Oliver, and then as a backup, Jordan Clark, and we'll see. Now he'll probably be on special teams as well. He's number 33. I believe it is. And so let's keep an eye on him. Maybe he could do something. And, of course, the media is going crazy with it. And mentioning it must be so annoying to Jordan Clark that whatever he does in his life, he has to be, and it's mentioned in the media, it has to be followed by son of former Steeler, Ryan Clark. Sure, that must annoy the hell out of him. It's like, can I do anything without mention of my father? We all get it. I'm Ryan Clark's kid, he's a prominent media member, and so all this. So media has to protect media at all costs. We know this. And so but every single thing that Jordan Clark does has to be followed by son of a media person and former Steeler, Ryan Clark. Let the kid have his own life. Can he get his own life, please? But anyway, first call-up of the year for Jordan Clark. We'll see if he can do anything. Keep your eye on him on special teams. And then if he goes into the slot, hey, let's see if he does something. The other guy got call-up, also first time on the year, Eric Watts. So we'll see if old Eric Watts comes in and does anything. Probably not. Not sure why he got the call-up, but probably I would think they're not too impressed with Mozzie Smith. Mozzie was out last week, and Kalen Saunders was here. He only played a few snaps, but he just showed up 5 minutes ago, and then he was active, and Mozzie was not. So I don't know. We'll see about that. He's probably not part of the future. Okay, next topic. We got these injuries. So Harrison Phillips will be playing. He's okay with his foot injury. However, Jason Brown-Lee, out with a hip problem. He was a late addition to the injury report, so hopefully it's not a long-term thing for Mr. Brown-Lee. They call him the baby linebacker. And then Alan Lazard. But no one cares about Alan Lazard. Let's be quite honest, shall we? All right, so we're doing pretty good injury wise. So not too shabby. All right. So nothing too major there. Game preview. So we're playing the Falconians. Here's what to watch. And there's a couple of interesting things. Of course, Jeff Obrecht's their defensive coordinator, so he used to be with us. He's doing the same old things with the Falcons, but with better people, so they're getting better results. The other thing on their offense, obviously their offense is very dynamic. Bijan with his cut, jump cuts all over the place. He's awesome, fun to watch. But the thing for us to watch is Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk Cousins getting up in age. Here's the whole key with Kirk Cousins. Back foot hits, ball comes out. Back foot hits, ball comes out, and he's doing consistent boom, boom, boom like a robot. When he's doing that, he's on. And when he doesn't do that, then he's got problems. He's not going to run around. He's not mobile. He's a statue back there, but he beats you with his mind, because what is going on when the back foot hits and the ball comes out? And then, of course, it's got to be accurate, and the guy has to be able to catch it. But um, he's reading the pre-snap and getting a good idea there, and then reading the post-snap, doing that quickly and correctly, and he feels confident. Back foot hits, ball comes out, usually a 7-step drop. There's going to be quite a bit of play action from under center with his back turned to the defense, which is more convincing of a play fake. And so they're going to run Bijan, they're going to run their running backs, and they're going to run duo up the middle like every team does against us, uh, and then they're going to run play action off of that. And then Kirk Cousins will be on fire if back foot hits, ball comes out. If he's hitching, if he's hesitant, okay, now he's in trouble. So that's all you got to watch with him. Their defense, for a long time, the Falcons had a very big problem with rushing the passer on defense. They finally addressed it. They got a bunch of guys in the draft, and now they have a bunch of dudes. They got dudes there. They got Arnold Ebiketie, they got Pierce, they got this one, they got that one. They went and addressed it in a big way, and now they have a ton of really good players on the front seven in particular, and they always had some decent people in the back end. So it's a good swarming defense with lots of talent. The thing about the Falcons is they started out hot on defense, and everybody was saying what a genius Jeff Ulbrich is. It's like, man, these coaches, it's the players, man. They loaded up on the players. But then the players didn't play as well, and nobody really kind of knows why. They cooled off. I don't know what they did different. Then everybody stopped talking about Jeff Ulbrich. it's such a funny thing. Once you see it, man, you can't unsee it with these coaches. But their defense is like any other 4-3, one-gap attacking defense. If they're getting home with 4, which is what they want, then all is good in Ulbrich world. So if we can block up the 4, we're doing good. And then, of course, they'll try to blitz more, and then we got to pick up those blitzes. But if they can get home and get a bunch of sacks with their front 4, they're living right. And so that's really the battle. It's the battle of the front, battle of the trenches, like every game. But they're a 4-3 attacking front, not unlike any of the other ones. The ones that are good have the really good players. The Rams, the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos, they all do the same thing. It's all a 4-3 attacking front. 4 down linemen, 1 gapping, that's called attacking. And if the players who are 4 down are good, they're getting home, and everything is great, because then you got 7 people in coverage. You run some zone coverage, whatever, and you make the quarterback make some mistakes. You get fumbles, you get picks, you get it all. The problem with our defense, we don't have enough good people. That's the problem. And therefore, we're not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. Therefore, we're not getting turnovers. Therefore, the defense stinks. Same thing with Cincinnati. Same thing with any defense that's bad. It's always the same thing. The players aren't good enough. But the ones with really great players will get their coaches jobs. So that's how it goes. So that's really the game preview. That's what to watch versus the Falcons. And then for us, of course, it's just evaluation time. Obviously we're evaluating Mitchie and Mechie and our young offensive linemen, and who can stick around on defense. If Mozzie's active, can he do anything? All these guys that we recently got, or, can Kobe King, come off his special teams and make a tackle maybe on the defense or something? All these young guys, can they do something for us? And that's what we're looking for, because it's all about the future with the Jets. Speaking of the future, Kirky Cousins. So Kirk Cousins will be playing today. Another reason to keep an eye on him, according to the latest Chimini column, which is really not a great column. He's got really nothing to say. But one thing he did say is the Jets will be in the market for a veteran. So it's pretty well established that we're not just going to go Fields and Cook and a rookie. It's not how it's going to go. So it's a matter of which veteran are we going to go get? There's a smattering of them. Now, Cousins' situation is kind of interesting. This is what's going on there. Obviously, they have Michael Penix, and they don't know if he's good or bad. He hasn't been good yet, but he's flashed, I would say. If he could ever get some accuracy, some high degree of accuracy, he could be really good. Problem is, he hasn't, and he has yet another injury. Remember, this is a kid that was very frequently and seriously injured in college, and now he has another knee injury, out for the year. So the question is, what do the Falcons want to do after this year? Cousins has less guaranteed money available, and if they cut him, they save $22 million on the cap with his current deal. So what goes on there? Do they just cut him loose? Now, part of that is, do they cut Raheem Morris loose, and the whole staff and the GM could be gone? And if that's the case, and it's a rebuild, which I don't know, they have a lot of talent on that team. Then you'd think they'd let Cousins go, save the cap, and just move on. But with Penix being injured, what the heck are they going to do at quarterback? They could hold on to Cousins if they think he's worth, I think the total cap hit is like 50-something if they keep him, which maybe they want to do. I mean, if they keep the coach and the GM, one theory could be, all right, Penix is coming back. He'll be the presumed starter, but he's injured. We don't know. Uncertainty. So we'll keep Cousins. And if Penix can't go, then it's Kirky time for next year. And they could do that. However, they could make another choice, and they could say, no, we need that $22 million off the cap. We're cutting him. The other thing they could do, rework his contract, redo it, maybe make it more palatable to where he could stay on the team. The cap hits are easier to swallow. So we don't know. But one thing we do know is that these decisions and whatever happens is going to have to be done by March. So the interesting thing is the Super Bowl's in early February. Then there'll be a big dead period. But then once the new league year comes and the free agency market starts, you're going to see what the strategy is. At this point, I've advocated for the two veterans and a rookie strategy. But we don't know what the Jets are going to do. But we will know what they've done by the draft. And so, I think depending on, like, for example, they might get an offer for Justin Fields where they could pick up a draft pick for 27 probably. And they might say, you know what? Justin didn't work out here. Let's offload some money and pick up this draft pick. And on the other hand, nobody may want to give us a draft pick at all, and so he may be here. So is Fields here or not? I don't think we're going to cut him. That's been written about, and it could happen. It's possible. But I personally don't think so. I'd like to trade him. Somebody would probably view him as a backup, somebody who's a contender and just needs, a kind of a solid-ish backup. They might be willing to part with a fifth-round pick in 27, you know what I mean? And if that's the case, then we got nothing in the cupboard, and we need we had to sign two veterans, which is not a problem. Gardner Minshew, Marcus Mariota, the veterans who are always out there are always out there, and you can always get them, and it's not a problem. So we'll see. But, as you're watching Cousins, take a look and say, look at this. Look how he's performing. Would we want, could we, as a bridge quarterback, and we all know Kirk Cousins, great teammate, wonderful human being, religious guy. He's never going to give you any problems. He's always going to be on time and, help out and be a nice guy and get along with everyone, all of that good stuff. As is Tyrod Taylor and, some of these dudes, Jameis Winston, they're all kind of in that category. If you stick around a long time as a backup, you're probably a good dude, including Justin Fields as well. So as you're watching him play, go, hey, maybe this could be our bridge, understanding that, the quarterbacks in the draft, let's say Mendoza, Moore, and Simpson all come out, and Mendoza gets picked before we have a chance to pick him. He's gone. And our choices are Moore or Simpson. Well, either one of those guys is going to have the same talking point from the media and the same concern from fans, which is experience. Those two dudes don't have a ton. Moore has more than Simpson does. But the number of starts, and everybody's going to bring up Anthony Richardson. That's going to be the talking point all offseason if we pick one of those two guys. So the way to mitigate that, have two savvy veterans. And I would think, ahead of them, and the kid sits behind them for a little while. But I would think that the rookie's got to start this year at some point, I would think. Maybe not the start of the year. Let him ease into it, ramp him up. But at some point, probably this year, you need to see the rookie. I would think for the Jets, just because if he sits the whole year, then people are going to say, well, wait a minute. If he sits the whole year, we could have just waited anyway and picked one of these other guys from 27 when Arch and whoever comes out. Although the two you really want are Sayan and Carr, and I don't think they're coming out till 28. That's part of the point. You just never know with these college quarterbacks, especially these days with the NIL money. You have no idea what they're going to do, which is why I think we're picking one of the guys and why we got to hope all three of those dudes come out, because those are the top three, and then there's a big drop, and then there's another bucket of players. But you want to have at least three that you feel comfortable with, and the evaluations are ongoing. It's not certain we're even comfortable with all those three guys. Well, they're not finished playing, and so then we got to evaluate them, and the Jets may not like one or two of those guys. So it's dicey. But then again, being a Jet fan is dicey. All right, last talking point on the docket. Late breaking news. So, a couple of things, late breaking news that affect the Jets. Lane Kiffin looks like he's going to LSU. It has not been made official yet, but it looks like he is going to LSU. Why that matters to the Jets? Well, I think Lane Kiffin is going to build a hell of a program at LSU. You could say he's a son of a bitch and he jumps around too much and this and that, but he is going to build a hell of a program out of LSU. You thought they had a lot of guys drafted before. Now it's going to be like that, plus quarterbacks and everything else. And I think, so that's going to be a program, I think, that's going to be on par with Georgia and Alabama in the SEC. Just every year, tons of dudes to watch coming out of the draft. You got to keep an eye on their quarterbacks, the Jets are probably always going to be needing quarterbacks. So you're going to have to, if he goes to LSU, you're going to have to just keep an eye on LSU for so much, and they're just going to be a powerhouse, I think. Now, the other thing, on a Sunday, other than our game, quarterbacks to watch. Cousins, of course, Tyler Shuck in New Orleans, Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland, Max Brosmer in Minnesota. These are young quarterbacks, except for Cousins, but quarterbacks in interesting situations that could affect the draft. If Tyler Shuck plays balls out the rest of the year, which I think he will, then the Saints don't need a quarterback. Same thing with Sanders and the Browns. And Brosmer is interesting because if he can show that he's at least decent, then the Vikings might say, all right, it's McCarthy and Brosmer next year. We don't need to dip into the draft waters. But then again, Kirk Cousins could go back. What about Kirk Cousins back to Minnesota? So that is an interesting thing. But Max Brosmer makes his first start today, so you might want to check him out, see if he's doing anything. He's an undrafted free agent. Late breaking news. The only one tweeting at this moment in time is Dick Chimney. Says this game will have a big impact on draft position. Right now, the Jets have a 15% chance to get the first pick. If they lose, it jumps to 22%. If they win, drops to 5%. So talking about draft position, in terms of the NFL, nothing else breaking. No significant late breaking news. Looks like Aaron Rodgers will play, and he has 3 fractures in his wrist, and he's still playing. So, his people are really working the media to the toughness angle. This guy's tough. He's so tough. Oh, the toughness. So that's coming out of Rodgers' camp, of course. and the media is buying it hook, line, and sinker. All right, that's it for Coffee with Frankie. Enjoy the game, and I will see you next time.